If you look closely at how the political world operates, you will notice it functions as a rigid sorting machine. Every person you know is actively being pushed into one of two distinct categories. This diagram illustrates mass power. To a politician, humanity is strictly divided into two pathways. You are a tool or an enemy. Tools are useful components, smoothly integrating to keep society running. Enemies are identified as obstacles, boxed in and systematically dismantled. Society masks this sorting process under a veneer of benevolence. The prevailing culture preaches tolerance, repeating maxims like "judge not," all while ruthlessly sending to hell anything that obstructs its path. But this raises a problem. What happens to the psychology of someone who simply stops walking? An individual who actively refuses to be utilized as a tool and refuses to engage as an enemy. Stepping out of that binary is an immense intellectual gamble. By refusing to play the game, a person forfeits their designated place and the protective umbrella of the human collective. The focus now shifts from the political machine to the specific psychology required to break away from it. This departure is the business of a very few. The act of breaking away is a choice made by a select few. They must rely on a perceived inner strength, betting that they can stand alone once the collective frameworks are gone. There is a distinction between the man forced into isolation by tragedy and the one who chooses it without being obligated to do so. The latter acts with a daring that exceeds common necessity. Choosing voluntary exile proves that the thinker is daring beyond measure. By stepping away from the collective, they invite a level of peril completely unknown to the masses. The independent thinker enters into a sprawling psychological labyrinth. Out here, there are no societal guideposts, no moral frameworks to lean on, and no political ideologies to provide easy answers. Life inherently carries risk, but when an individual discards the collective safety net, they multiply the normal dangers of existence 1,000-fold, and the struggle is invisible. If this thinker takes a wrong turn and loses their way, there is no one around to witness the mistake or offer a hand to pull them back. This shape represents the hyper-analytical mind. The true monster in this maze is not an external enemy. It is a monitor of conscience, the individual's own intellect, turning its sharpest criticisms inward. Stripped of a clear external target, this intense self-awareness begins to cannibalize itself. The thinker is torn piecemeal, ground down by relentless questioning. Society's punishment is manageable. The ultimate danger to the independent mind is the uncontrolled, isolating terror of absolute, unguided self-analysis. Now, suppose such an individual finally collapses. The isolation proves too heavy, the labyrinth too complex, and the thinker comes to grief. Looking at this closed societal loop, you might expect it to extend pity to the isolated spark. But true independence exists completely outside the comprehension of the masses. Normal society only understands the struggles of the tools trying to build the machine, or the enemies trying to break it. If an individual's pain cannot be categorized into that binary, the collective literally cannot feel it, nor sympathize with it. As the thinker extinguishes, the loop carries on, unaffected. And here is the severe consequence of the departure. The exit shuts behind you. Once a mind has seen past the political binary and severed its ties to the collective illusion, regression is impossible. You cannot willfully unsee the labyrinth and squeeze back into the comfortable ranks of the tools and enemies. The path of the independent mind leads to a state of permanent exile. The thinker has severed their connection to the collective, trading the warmth of human sympathy for a solitude from which there is no return.